First we took advantage of other animals, then we take advantage of each other. After reading Griftopia, I got the impression that humans take advantage of each other in today's world. That's the only way you get ahead, to take advantage of somebody else. There's got to be a winner and loser today. It wasn't always like that. I mean, historically, we were battling the elements and battling animals. We were taking advantage of those situations, and humans tended to work. Early humans, prehistoric humans, were working together to build their society. But you know, a few hundred years ago, humans started really, well, I don't know, back in Rome, that's over 2,000 years ago, humans were really battling each other and taking advantage of each other, although there was still plenty of wildlife and stuff for many. It depends on where you were living. If you were living in the rural areas, you could live off the land. I mean, farmers, they could subsist off of their farming, but if it failed, if there was a bad year, they could turn to hunting and take advantage of nature in that way. Even as early as the mid-1900s, I saw pictures of a wall of my grandpa standing in front of a house covered in fur on one wall, and it was like raccoon or something. He trapped them all. There's barely any animal left to be found in where he lives, or where he used to live. But people are just taking advantage of each other with grifting, and there's got to be winners and losers. I get that feeling a lot in playing the Hearthstone game, because the only way I can really gain gold is to beat other people. So I have to be constantly beating people in this game so that I can get ahead. All right, there has to be the losers so that I can gain, and that's how it is with a lot of things. If you want to get a good job, there's going to be people who lose out on that opportunity so that you can gain it. It's just such an amazing competition between each other these days. It's really too bad that we have to come to this with all this competing, and it really doesn't look like there's any other way to go about living a life. I remember reading some kind of news report about a couple living in Alaska, one of the last frontiers. I can't say one of the last unexplored frontiers, because the open frontier was declared closed in the 1890s, as in to say everything was settled. Either private companies made claim to the land, or the government made claim to the land. All the frontier in the United States was declared closed in the 1890s. But recently, just like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I forget when I read this article, and it wasn't really an in-depth article, but just a couple were living off the lands in Alaska, and they were driven off. They were living in a cabin or something by themselves in a remote part of Alaska. And then the government steps in and says they can't do that anymore. All right. I mean, regulations came in to protect a lot of animals, polar bear and walrus and all that. So you're at such a loss with taking advantage of nature and other animals the way we used to, and we still have that ingrained in our personalities. There are a lot of hunters, okay, and many of us have to give up hunting, and it's in our natural instinct to do so. I've turned to video games. It's not very satisfying. I don't think video games would be as satisfying as actual hunting, but I don't have much experience with hunting, so My advantages are, yeah, I'm taking advantage and getting taken advantage of by other humans pretty much, primarily.